सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyanat Manimayaya Bhairibhut Bhutam Yatha Nidraya Yat Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. My voice is a little stronger, but I still have pretty much similar issues that have not been resolved yet. We're still trying to get to the bottom of it. But I thought I'd just resume the classes because not teaching doesn't really suit my lifestyle. I was thinking there was this joke that I had heard about a guy who a friend of his told him that there is an astrologer who is amazing. He can predict your future. He can read your past. So you must go to him. So he goes to this astrologer, and so the astrologer says, "You're 40 years of age?" He said, "Yes, I am." And he said, this is without asking him. And he said, "You've had a very difficult life." He said, "Yes, that's true." He says, "I see that you have some health problems and you also have some marital problems." He says, "Yes, sir, absolutely." So he said, "Well, I think things will be different now." He said, "Really? What will happen? How will the problems go away?" He says, "No, not really. Your health and marital problems will stay. It's just that you will get more used to it." That's my situation at this point. Anyway, so we'll continue to go on. I would still rely on Ricola and water and so on, but hopefully it'll be okay. All right, so where were we? So I think I feel that the understanding of the self, which results in absolute moksha, which moksha means absolute freedom, relies on a very good understanding of what Vedanta is saying. It looks very obvious. Of course, this is what we're doing. But we forget the basic message. This is what is called Tatparya. This is called Tatparya Nishchaya. Nishchaya means the ascertainment. And Tatparya means exactly what is the essence of what Vedanta is saying. So, this is, the more we look into it, the better off we will be in directing our minds to where we need to. So this is why I think it's good that we are doing some general talks without adhering to any particular text, so that we can kind of do some Atma Vichara in general. This is what we are doing. So going back to what we studied in Tattva Bodha, the very basic book that I hope all of you are very familiar with. So what we said was that every human being is guided by four types of desires in all of our lives. Everybody, everyone, without any exception. And those are, as you know, artha, kama, dharma, and moksha. So, a very brief revisiting of that in the context of what we are going to talk about today would be useful. Artha means a sense of security. And this is why it comes first, very first one. Because, really speaking, everyone needs to be secure as the first priority of our life. Starting with a baby. If the baby is cold or the baby is wet, it lets you know that. And if it's comfortable, if it is well fed, the security is ensured, it feels fine. This occurs all throughout our lives. And of course, what happens is that not only are we worried about our own security, but we also take care of things that make us secure, like a house. We want to make sure that our house is secure, because if the house is not secure, then I am not secure. So the desire for security expands to include all of the secondary reasons that contribute to the security. We know that. Okay, so now, and the same thing happens in jobs. If our jobs are not secure, if we are vulnerable, as that's happening in the new Trump era, so many people are getting laid off, departments are getting, people are not going to be happy. They're very insecure. So the security encompasses many, many forms, but it is symbolically mentioned by the word artha. Then the second thing that happens is that after I feel secure, if we are lucky about having a job, having a house, having enough food, having a family perhaps, if those things are taken care of, then the next thing we know, the next thing we need, we desire, is entertainment. And you cannot desire entertainment until you're secure. You are really worried. And you can't go to a movie and enjoy. And you can go there just to take your mind off of the problems, but that's not it. Entertainment, which is called kama, many, many different forms. Food, sex, company, music, all those kinds of things fall under kama. So that's the second degree of this is called purushartha. Purushanam arthyate iti purushartha, one which is desired by all people. Purusha here is not male versus female, but just the human being. True even for animals. They want security, and then they can move around, do some things. So that's the second one. Then comes, and all this leads to happiness. Very natural, ananda. So I want ananda, but I cannot have ananda until I'm secure. I would like to have some kama, fulfillment of my desires towards entertainment in order to be happy. And then later on, and even earlier on, but certainly later on, you discover that a pious living, a harmonious living with the world, leads to peace and happiness. and this means charity, etc., etc. And so dharma. And here is included not only is the dharma for this life, but also learning about having faith in dharma that extends my life for the next life. And so going to church, going to temples, doing pujas, all of that is certainly useful in this life as well. But more and more it begins to dawn on me that my life is now ending and I need to secure it for the future. And so I look for some support, some knowledge, some way for me to find out. This is all part of the dharma. So in these three purushartha, there is one thing which is common, which is that the result of these purushartha is not everlasting. Security is also temporary, kama of course is temporary, and dharma, contrary to what some people say, like in Christianity, that you will be in heaven forever, is not accepted in our thinking, our thoughts. Why? Because it is not the ultimate purushartha. It also falls under the first three, all because they are temporary. And so our shastras also say that just like you have results that are temporary in this life, therefore, yes, there is an enjoyment in heaven, all right, no doubt about it, but it is also not lasting. You come back into Martyaloka Vishanti. Kshine Punye Martyaloka Vishanti, given in our Shastras. In any case, that is just a belief. We don't know. But it has been said that dharma also leads to temporary results either in this life or next life. And so for that reason, it doesn't satisfy the aspirations of a human being to have total ultimate freedom, not temporary freedom. Exactly the same thing, that if you cannot find a disease that you can uproot, all you can do is to do some symptomatic relief, and you need to do that if you are in pain. But do not expect symptomatic relief to relieve your disease. Same thing. All this is really just thinking and vichara. Vicharam is the most important. The thinking is the most important one. Logic, reasonableness. So here's what our life is. So now, is there a possibility of not temporary ananda, but ananda which is not limited by any time, place, or any other condition? Is that possible? And of course, the Vedanta says yes. Yes, it is not only not possible, it is true. It is already true. So in this teaching, in this way of saying it, Vedanta has a very unique place amongst the thought process of the whole creation. So in that sense, Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, when we say Vedanta, it means only Advaita Vedanta, means a vision of oneness. Advaita Vedanta, one without a second. In that Vedanta, it is not like any other school of thought. You cannot equate it in the sense that, you have so many different options available. You can do this or you can do that, and you can also learn Vedanta. The Vedanta is one of many options. It is not like that. This we have to see. We have to see, and we have to see why that is the case. How exactly is this? That clarity is a very important thing for us to do vichara on. So let's look at that. And we've already been talking about it. I'm just summarizing it in a way that it's either a revision or perhaps one may not have caught it the first time. But this is the centrality of the message of Vedanta. So how is it that Vedanta is what we say not like any other school of thought? It is something unique. Here's the thing. All the other schools of thought that are not Vedanta depend upon the premise that you and I are individuals. And they ask us, aren't you an individual? And we say, yeah, absolutely, yes. I'm an individual, separate from all the other individuals. I am an individual. Okay, so it starts with the basic premise that you are an individual. You know what that means? So let's generalize it. What it means is you are limited. So we've used those terms in Sanskrit before. It's called parichanna. Parichanna. Parichanna means it is limited. It is not everything, it is just something. And of course we say, yes, that's true. How can you argue against it? It is parichinna. I am a parichinna vastu. And then that is the basic assumption of all the schools of thought. Whether you have karma-based, which is the karmakanda of the Vedas, whether it is upasana-based. Upasana-based means which is prayerful, which relies on Ishvara, on Ishtadevata, on following some kind of a god, Rama or Krishna or Ganapati or Christ or Muhammad. Something you have to rely on and you have to develop. This is a completely different science, and we can go into that sometimes, but it means that it requires devotion. It requires practice, repetition, sincerity, loyalty, along with the fact that you have to behave with the world in a particular manner. You have to, in fact, whatever the form of the Ishtadevata is, you have to become like that also. So this is what is called upasana. So that's the second way of option of becoming making a progress towards the moksha. And they all say, everybody says that at the end of this, you will indeed find moksha. Trust us. So we'd have to trust them. As Swami Dayanand used to say that, I think I told you this before. He used to say that, all the religions, not spiritual disciplines, but religions, are like glorified, what is it? Glorified, gosh, that word is travel agents. They're glorified travel agents. Because that's exactly the job of a travel agent, is to paint a picture and give it to you. Now these days, of course, oh my gosh, we get these, we had taken a cruise, a family cruise to Europe and Russia, all the way from, this is about 10, 12 years ago, from a company called Regent. And it was a good company, they did a good job. My goodness, the number of brochures that we get from them, which is so heavy that I have to hold it with both hands and throw it away, because we're not taking any more trips, at least that I can think of. So it might happen, but none, we're not really interested. But how much money they spend in these beautiful pictures of new ships, new destinations. Wonderful. They're like travel agents. So they have to paint a picture. Then below that there is a price. And there is some sales going on. All of that has to be done. So that means you have to go somewhere and you have to pay the price. So Swami Dayanand used to say that really all these proselytizing religions are like glorified travel agents. That's exactly what happens. In any case, going back to the original subject, in all of these cases, the fundamental premise, the assumption is that you are a limited person, and because of the limitation, you are not very happy. And if you follow our methodology called Sampradaya, we promise you that we will take you to some place you'll be very happy, and in some Sampradayas you'll be happy forever. In most other cases, you'll be happy for a long time, but not forever. So this is what it is. Vedanta is totally different from all of them, every one of them. And this includes karma, upasana, yoga, sankhya, all kinds of methodologies. And Buddhism, that if you just become quiet and do meditation, you will reach a state. Or yoga, or sankhya, meaning that you have to do an analysis between Purusha and Prakriti and do that you are no longer affected by the Prakriti, you are a Purusha. All those kinds of things are done. So there, the plurality of reality. Now look at this. This is interesting. So there is reality. Reality in the sense that if you are a jiva, you are a real jiva. You're a real jiva, aren't you? Yes, I am a real jiva. And so are all the other jivas. So is the entire world, and so is the possibility. So there is a plurality of reality. You are also Satyam. Heaven is also Satyam. Temple is also Satyam. Yaga is also Satyam. Everything is Satyam, Satyam, Satyam. There are plurality. And the issue is that you are not there. So you have to travel. You have to do some things in order to get there. This is the basic premise of all non-Vedantic schools of thought, right? So let's understand this very well. Vedanta is not one of them. So we cannot say, oh yeah, you know what? You can do this. Yes, there are pros and cons. Then things are a little better here. You can choose Vedanta, or you can choose something else. Isn't like that. Then what? And why is that? It says you are not parichinna-vastu. You are what you call to be jiva, and which means you call and feel yourself to be a limited person, a limited vastu. Vastu means an entity. We can't call it a thing because we are conscious. You cannot call it a thing. You can call it an entity. Okay, let's call it an entity. Vastu. The name for that is in Sanskrit is a vastu. So I take my vastuta, my entity-ship, as being real. Vedanta says you are not a parichinna vastu. In fact, there is no parichinna vastu. The paricchinnata of vastutvam doesn't exist. Doesn't exist, so then what exists? It's aparichinna. So forget about other things, let's just talk about myself as a human being. I mean, each one of us. Vedanta says you are not parichinna, you are aparichinna. So aparichinna means not limited. I am not limited? How can you say that? Because I am different from others and I feel limited. I am limited because I've got problems that I'm trying to solve, including trying to extend my life, trying to be happy, to be healthy. And you don't call it a limitation? Vedanta says no. Even when you feel you are limited, you are not limited. So therefore, we can go back now to say that the tatparya, the basic message of Vedanta is totally unique. Unique in, I mean, we have to, it's not just a talking point. You know what, in that sense, all of us are unique. Our thumbprints are all unique. We're not talking about just that. My thumbprint is unique, your thumbprint is unique. It's totally different. And this is what I have to be clear about. Because I have a choice. I can say, oh, you know, I came to the teaching thinking that this will be helpful to me. But this seems outlandish. This doesn't seem consistent. That's not my experience. It seems weird, strange. And therefore, this is not what I want to do. Let me go to some other place where they can accept me for what I am, and then go from there. Vedanta says, wait. Before you go, let me just tell you something. I am also telling you what you are as you are. In fact, I am telling you as you are, when in fact all non-Vedantins are telling you what you are not. I'm sorry to say those words don't feel good to me. They are liars. They are not telling you the truth. The truth about yourself, whether you feel that or not, is that you are unlimited. What can I do? If you're unlimited, I see you exactly what you are. You don't see yourself as you are. That's a different thing altogether. That we have to now resolve it. So this is what is called that knowledge of a vastu is vastu tantram. We've already gone through all that. I'm just revising it and make it into a package that you can grasp and see the logic of it. The knowledge of something is vastu tantram. What does it mean by that? The knowledge of some vastu does not depend on what you think of it. You may think of it completely differently for some good reasons. You may not recognize exactly what a thing is. You may call it differently. Your understanding may be flawed. That's a separate thing altogether. But the knowledge pertains to a vastu as it is. And if you take it for something other than what it is, we can only call it a mistake. Whereas a grabbing of some results is not knowledge. Adhering to some path is different, because that is kartrutantram. That depends upon the person who wants to be different. Supposing you are in India and you want to acquire an American citizenship, then it all depends upon not America, but upon you. It also depends on America, whether they give you a visa or not. But primarily it depends upon your effort, your knowledge, whether you are working hard, or if you want to sneak yourself in and become an illegal person, that's up to you. Whatever you want to do. And somehow not get caught and get into the system and pretend you are a citizen. All of that is possibility. But that's not knowledge, that is karma. So therefore, in all other forms of spiritual pursuit, It all depends upon the karta. What you do, how much prayers you do, who do you pray to, who do you follow, how sincere you are, how lucky you are, all those kinds of things, because you're trying to be different from what you are today to what you want to be in the future. And this is what is called Kartratantra. Knowledge is something different. And the knowledge is, the Shastra says, the knowledge is you are aparichinna. You are a complete person. And if you feel, I don't feel that, I don't think that's correct, you're making a mistake. You don't know yourself as a complete person for a variety of reasons, and we'll look into that. But the fact of the matter is that jivatvam is a mistake. You're not a jiva. You're something totally different. This is what has to be seen. How we see in it is, this is what our whole study is all about. Shastra says, let me help you to see yourself. So it was interesting. There was a passage in one of Swami Akhandananda's books that was really very useful to me in the way we look at it. He said that some of the people approached him, generally quite a few people, and said, Swamiji, you know, when you teach us Vedanta, it looks very clear to us. We can close our eyes and feel, yes, this is true. And we feel very peaceful, resolved, happy, whatever you may call it. Everything is going well. Then, when we go out to the world, it doesn't take long for the entire world, as though it is sitting on top of me. It becomes a burden on me instantly. And why is that? How is that? So Swamiji, you know, sometimes these insights are far-reaching, even though they are very succinctly said. You don't have to make a whole set of classes and so on, but something is said. So in this case, something was said that really made a lot of sense to me. I said, my goodness, I hadn't realized that. You know what he said? And this is all in 3 or 4 sentences, just a small paragraph. I can't remember. I'll have to look to see where the reference is. So you have to trust me. Yeah, this is not my idea. This is what I read from a Mahatma. He said, the next time you see that the world is sitting on top of you, please see that the person on whom the whole world is sitting on is not you. My goodness, I tell you, a light went through me. And it was it was a revelation in terms of summarizing for me what a lot of the words were hinting at overall anyway. But this just brought it to home. This is a very big topic, and I think we will, I'll just briefly mention it to you, and at some point in time in the future, because it requires a lot of analysis and so on, and we will go through that, hopefully. What the topic is that one of our mistakes as we become more knowledgeable about what Vedanta is saying is that we can discard the world a little bit more easily. A little bit more easily than what is needed to be discarded is not only the drishya, what is seen by me, what is experienced by me. Yeah, that's the one step. But you're not done. It's only a partial step. You have to also see the drashta, the person who is visualizing the world. Is that person real or not? And that person also is not real. That person also is just an appearance without any truth. As we have seen, the example, the classical example is that of the rope and the snake, which is absolutely a great example. But equally great is the example of the blueness of the sky. The blueness of the sky, I think, is even more important for us to dwell on because, you know why? Because you've heard me that before. You've understood it, I'm pretty sure. Because it is an upadhi that does not disappear as soon as the truth is known. It hangs on even after the truth is known, but it is dismissible. See what I'm saying? So in the case of a rope and a snake, as long as you don't know the reality of the rope, the vision of the snake hangs around. But if you know the reality of this rope, the snake disappears, right? It disappears. In the case of the blueness of the sky, even after you know that the sky cannot be blue and the blueness still appears to be there, you dismiss it. See, that's not it. And just let it be appear. In that manner, the world may disappear, as it does, in dream, the world as you see it disappears. And in deep sleep, the world as it was in either of the dream or the Jagrat Avastha disappears. So the world can disappear, but the seer of the world, the jiva, stays on. Exactly, this is what happens in our life, that the world around me changes, but I feel I am very stable. I am somebody real. And so I don't question that I am a real person. Going back to what we were saying earlier, that's exactly right. Even though I'm parichinna, but I am a parichinna vastu. And the world around me is changing and it goes around. Fine, I'm not bothered by it. I am bothered by it, but I can gain some freedom by becoming free from it. But I am always the same person. Even though I'm changing, I used to be young, now I'm older. But I'm stable, I'm somebody there. So I don't question that. The fact of the matter is that my jivatvam, my sense of parichinnata, my sense of limitedness is like the blueness of the sky. It's like the blueness of the sky, because even though I look like a real person, upon the analysis that we will be pursuing in more detail, more clearly, repeatedly, even that person is not real. Like the blueness, even though it is visible even after my understanding, similarly, slightly different situation, even if I understand that the world is mithya, my jivatvam stays as a blueness. And the blueness also is mithya. Mithya in the sense that it just appears, but it has no reality. So even my jivatvam is not me, because I am the sakshi. I am the Atma that is aware of both the drishya and the drashta. Drashta here means the status of me being a jiva that can see, that can feel, that can talk. That also is mithya. So, therefore, now we can go back to this very beautiful example. I just gave you a more detailed explanation of this, that we might do it again in some future class. But I wanted to go back and just encapsulate that in this very beautiful couple of sentences by Swamiji, Swami Akhandananda ji, which says that if the world seems to sit on you, he used the Hindi word for it, तुम्हारे ऊपर बैठा हुआ लगता है. This is what the people used to say to him. He says, Swami ji, आप हमको जब, I'll just do that in Hindi for a while, आप जब हमको पढ़ाते हैं वेदांता, तो ये बड़ा सच लगता है कि मैं साक्षी हूँ और सब कुछ ठीक लगता है, मैं पीसफुल हूँ, आनंद आता है मुझे. पर मैं जब बाहर जाता हूँ तो जो सारा संसार है वो मेरे सिर के ऊपर बैठ जाता है. ये क्यों? That's what he was saying, now translating in English, which I have already said before, that as soon as I get out of the class, even though I felt good and peaceful and free and all that, but the entire world seems to sit on top of me. To that answer, he said, here is the key. The person on which the world appears to sit on is also not you. It's not you. So meditate on that. Think about that. Understand that. Do the viveka on that. Why is it not me? How can you say that's not me? Because, please do the viveka. Anything which is temporary is not you. You are sthira, unchanging, avinashi. You don't come and go. This is your satyam jnanam anantam. And the jivatvam that you think is you is changing. It was young and now it is old. Forget about that. Even in a 24-hour period, it is not you all the time. You are somebody else for the dream period. And you are nobody for the deep sleep period. That's not you. And even while you are awake, you're not always the same. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're bothered, sometimes you're forgiving. That's not, they're all changing. That's the jivatvam. And if you look at the makeup of the jiva, is it the same? My goodness, what is it? Every 7 minutes, all of these cells of the body completely change. It's a continuous process. It looks like it's used the same, but it's not. It's changing. It's changing second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. That's not you. But relatively speaking, you feel this is me. A very beautiful, very brief enunciation by Swamiji. I felt, wow, what a wonderful way to look at it. He says that the next time you feel like the world is sitting on top of you, it is sitting on top of somebody who is not you. You are pretending to be it. My goodness, so true. So going back to the what we were doing earlier, is that the knowledge of the self is not Purushotantram. It is not based on your effort. It is based on Vastutantram. You are a independent Atma, that is the Vastu that you have to see. So if that is the case, if I have to see, how do I see it? Because right now I don't see it. Ah, okay. Now we're talking. But at least hopefully you've come to a point of understanding that Vedanta is truly unique by saying you are not a parichinna vastu. You are a complete being. Even if you feel you are not complete, you are still complete. What can we do? Because that is the vastu. That's what you have to see. And now you're saying, why don't I see it? Okay. So you don't see it because you are used to seeing things in a certain way that is obstructing you from seeing the whole picture. You are you're trivializing your thinking. You're trivializing your thinking in the sense that you are, I mean, just the example given elsewhere before also, that suppose you are, God forbid, a homeless person, and you are living hand to mouth literally. You don't know where your next meal is going to come from. If you get a McDonald's hamburger and fries, that is an outstanding day for you. This is how your drishti is. I don't know if I can survive, but I need some food, I need some shelter. This is the world that you live in, suppose. God forbid. And there we saw that if someone were to seek you out and say, are you such and such person? He says, yes. He says, this is your lucky day. Why? Because once some distant relative has died and she has left an enormous fortune to you. Tens of millions of dollars. Tens of millions of dollars. $100 million. Just in yesterday's San Jose Mercury, there was this enumeration of the wealth of some of the people in the Bay Area. It's really astounding. My wife was reading that and she said, I don't think this is true. I think Sergey Brin has $127 billion. Mark Zuckerberg has $225 billion. She says, how can this be true? I used to think that $1 billion is enough, but Jeff Bezos, all of these people, they are hundreds of billions of dollars. Supposing this guy, he comes up and he says, this distant aunt of yours who died has left you $100 million. Now you understand this scenario. This guy who's been homeless for a couple of years, living hand to mouth, you think he can grasp the enormity of $100 million right away? Very unlikely. Starting with the fact that you don't even believe it. And it takes a long time for a person to finally convince him. And then to move into an apartment is more than he can possibly think about. And to having some 3 meals a day is more than he can think about. And what $100 million means to him is unthinkable. This is exactly what I'm telling you. Swami Akhandananda has made this assertion many, many times. He says, this is the issue. I am aparichinna. How is that possible? No, there must be a mistake. No, I'm just a small person. All I need is just, few things and so on and so forth. I don't need all of that. He says, you have it. What am I supposed to do? You are aparichinna. So the whole concept of unlimitedness, of what it entails, freedom from death, freedom from birth, freedom from disease or old age, I can't visualize that. So Vedanta says, okay, all right, calm down. I am telling you that is the truth. And will you please come to grips with it? That's it. So I was saying earlier that either you can take this assertion by Vedanta in one of two ways. Either you say, no, there's something wrong in this whole thing. This is what happens that this is why Buddhism is much more popular. A lot of even yoga, for example, is very much more popular than Vedanta. Yoga says, forget about all this aparichinna, limitedness and unlimitedness. Do you feel you're unlimited? He says, no, I don't feel I'm unlimited. Exactly. All you need is relief right now. So please come, let us meditate together. Om. Om. Okay, sit straight. And do this. How do you feel? I feel very good. Okay, this is what we need to do. So, what we need is, you please join this class and have this yoga chanting and yoga class, and this has to be twice a week, because once a week is not enough. And you do that at home also. And by the way, this class costs about $300 a month. And if you can do that, I assure you, you will feel very, very good. Okay? All right. So then you start doing this, and you really do feel better. You really feel better. And you keep doing it, you keep doing it. Outside, when you come out of it, you're not that happy, but you love going to the class. Everybody's all sitting together. This is very wonderful. There's like 50 people in this class, all chanting Om, Om. You feel so good. Wonderful. As soon as you come home, you're saying, okay, I'm signed up for this class. Vedanta is not like that. So what do I do? There, Vedanta says that if you don't understand it, doesn't mean it is not true. You have to grow up to understand it. Grow up to understand it. Mentally grow up. Well, how do I do that? Okay, now we're talking. So there you have, so your preparation has to be done in such a manner that the Vastu Jnanam becomes clear, which is you, already you. You are not anybody special, you are the total thing. In fact, there is no difference between the essence of Ishvara and you. This is what Tattvamasi is, what the Mahavakyas is. Now, there's no difference. You and Ishvara are one and the same. See, I'm good for about 50 minutes, an hour. After that, I break down. So there, the growth of the mental growth, so that I can understand, is given. It's that we can follow. So we can perhaps go over that in some more detail next time. And essentially, this is the how do you make your mind, instead of living hand to mouth, can appreciate the wealth which is already yours, which is so enormous that it will not just make a small change in you, it will be totally different. You'll be in a different world altogether. Imagine having $100 million, how that would change your life. So those methods of Bahiranga sadhana and Antaranga sadhana, sadhana chatushtaya, all of that we will go over that in the next class. I think I'll wind it up, and I will see you next week. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. That it will not just make a small change. Oh, nice to see you, all of you, after a while. Hope you're all doing well, and good to see you. We'll see you hopefully next week. Hari Om.